everyone. I am Jordan. My name's Jordan. If you don't know who I am the face behind Mrs. Presley ICT, and I just thought I'd pop on and just give you a little bit of a rundown on how I've run Daily 5 in my classroom. It's quite a bit of a popular post on New Zealand Teachers' Facebook page at the moment. And everyone does things differently, but the way that I've run Daily 5 definitely has worked for my kids and for myself in my classroom. So I just thought I'd give you a little bit of a rundown on how it works for me. So I came across the book, The Daily 5, on Amazon, and thought, well, why not have a look? What was working for me prior wasn't really working. I was using, your usual tumble-based activities in the classroom, and I felt like my kids were engaged, but it was really just naffy reading things that weren't really harnessing their full capabilities. So I got the Daily 5 book, I read it, and I was instantly in love. I had to implement it straight away. So that was back in 2016. So 2017, first thing we did was this. First day of school, straight into this. The great thing about the Daily 5 book is at the back, it has got lesson plans. So you can just sit here and follow the lesson plans on implementing Daily 5 in your classroom. Daily 5 is made up of 5 different literacy tasks. You've got read to self, read to someone, work on writing, word work, and listen to reading. And they all make up Daily 5. So first I got the book, read through it, loved it. It gives you tips on how to set it up in your classroom. So the first tip it says is to really unpack each task or each aspect of Daily 5. So what they suggest is creating something called an anchor chart. And so what I did is you make one of these up for each task, and you unpack the desired behaviors for the teacher and the student. So you know, and your students know exactly what's happening in listen to reading. Where do they go? What do they do? What happens when you're on it? What happens with the students? And you do that for each of the tasks. Okay, so these are some that I have made up. Originally in the beginning, I hadn't made my own resources, so I went on to Teachers Pay Teachers and just downloaded all the free stuff. And the free stuff is fantastic. So yeah, the student part, you fill it out, you laminate it, put it on the wall. So the first day you start off with obviously the first task, you unpack that, you might do that for the first week, introduce the second task. And you build on all of that until you've got all 5 tasks. And you refer back to these, every day, every second day. If you see a student perhaps doing an undesired behavior, you could be like, you need to go back and check on this. And that really just sets the program up in your classroom. So for me, with my class, we use Daily 5 in the tumble first. They had used tumbles before. I had used tumbles before. It was a really safe bet. They were learning the new processes of Daily 5, but still doing reading in a structured way. So they learnt the behaviors, they learnt where things were, the materials that they needed for each thing, and which part. They had the charts to go back to. So that was really helpful. From then, in term 2, we progressed towards some self-assessment checklists. So we created these together. And each checklist had pictures of the kids doing the desired behaviors. So this one for work on writing, I chose a writing activity that was right for me. So they had the choices to choose from. The activities I chose helped me practice my writing skills, and I was a respectful, responsible, and safe learner. So they could go to this and say, right, am I doing these things in their head, quickly self-assess themselves? Yep, sweet, cool, they can go back. If there was a student perhaps maybe not doing the desired behavior, you'd be like, right, which one of these do you think maybe you need to work on a bit? And these were displayed next to the anchor charts and next to the different areas that we had for each different task of Daily 5. And so when, by the end of term 2, I sort of felt that they really had the hang of the different tasks and the different elements. So that's when I decided to make the task board. So my original task board looks like this, and each student had their own task board. So the foundations of Daily 5 is that you really want your students to build ownership over their learning. You want trust in them to make the right choice. They're accountable for their actions. they're independent, building routines, all of those things. And I really felt that by having a tumble, your usual reading tumble, that wasn't really happening. I was telling them what to do. They were just doing it because I said so. So I developed this checklist. Now, each kid had one of these. Up here, there was a picture of them, and we had it on like a daily 5 wall. So there up the top, you've got your teachers, you've got your work on writing, you've got your read to someone, seesaw, because we use seesaw, read to self, word work, listen to reading, an iPad, word wall, a free choice, and a handwriting. So I chucked in some extra ones because they were really target areas that I wanted to focus on in class. I gave them an iPad one because we, you know, all kids love iPads, and a free choice so they could just choose anything. And I laminated these and put them up on the wall. And I found in the beginning, I had the real smart children that would use whiteboard pens and rub out the fun ones and cross them off again the same day. So say for on Monday, they'd be like, right, I'm going to choose free choosing, cross it off they go. Do the other ones on Monday, and next one. Then on Tuesday, they'd come back and rub it off with their finger and go, oh yeah, I'll just do free choosing again. So I then implemented a color code. So I thought, nope, not using pens anymore. I'm going to use vivids. So on Monday, we had blue, Tuesday red, Wednesday green, Thursday pink. So on a Monday, they would cross it off with the blue. On a Tuesday, they would cross it off with the red, and that way they could keep track, I could keep track, and I knew exactly who was not doing something on Monday, or if they had gone over the same one a couple of times, I could see that because the vivids were different colors. And that that was the best part for me, was the color-coded part. And so after that, I found that my higher-up kids, they had a good grasp on that. So I then differentiated it and made a different one to include spelling down here, and they had less of the predominantly junior-based activities. These were to like extend them more. And so we still use the color code system. We just had the 2 different daily 5 checklists, which was good. And so what we then got for this year, for my class this year, is I've now upgraded it to a more fancy one, and this is the one that I sell. So the first one, I used images from another lady. She helped me work on this, and then this is my version of ones that I sell on Teachers Pay Teachers or on my website. And there's also an interactive version where you can use these icons to create your own checklist. And I really can't stress how amazing this part, the checklist part, was for me in my reading program. I taught year 1s the first time I did this, and then year 1s and 2s last year, and they just take it on. You don't need to tell them, you don't need to check in on them, because they know where they're meant to be. They're accountable for their choices. You can go and just look at the daily 5 board, you point to it, and they go, oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Presley, I forgot, or I didn't do it, or I was mucking around on the same activity for a really long time. And so building that trust between them of saying, you know, when you're year 3, you have contracts, and this feeds really nicely into a reading contract, because they're taking the choice, the trust is there, the respect for their learning. You don't have to tell them all, you need to be here, you need to be here. And so that part, the checklist part, was really the best part of the Daily 5 program for my students. So yeah, this year I'm teaching year 3s. I've moved up a year level, and I'm going to try and incorporate the cafe teaching prompts more into the Daily 5 in my classroom. So cafe is part of the Daily 5, and if you read the book, it touches on it a little bit. And I'm going to try and also use Maths Daily 3, which is the maths version of Daily 5. So Daily 5 is for literacy, Maths Daily 3 is for maths. And I'm going to try and use those more to extend my learners a bit more, and trial the cafe approach as well to see how that goes. And so, yeah, that really, in 9 minutes, 22 seconds, sums up my journey through Daily 5. If you have got any questions, I will stay on for another couple of seconds and see if they pop up. Yeah, I really can't speak more highly of Daily 5. I think it's a really great program. If you're looking for a way to build respect and accountability and choice in student learning, then definitely this is the approach that you want to use. Even if you're a newbie and you think, oh my gosh, I don't know how to use it, like what do I do? Use use the stuff in the back. Like the lesson plans are there. They tell you timings. This is what you should do. This is how you talk. This is what you say. And then they tell you how to introduce each section. If you don't want to use it, just go do your own thing. All your students are different. I might find that this year with my checklist, it might not work for my year 3s. They might like to do something else. But at least I know that previously with my year 1s, they can do this by themselves. And I was, last year I was away for 2 weeks, and the reliever said that in reading, the kids just went off and did their thing. They knew what they were doing. They knew where they were meant to go. They knew what their checklist meant. They could explain it to the teacher. They could explain why they're doing it, who they can go to help. They can go to the self-assessment checklist to check that they're on task. And, you know, who doesn't want that in their classroom? I mean, 5-year-olds being able to say, I'm doing teacher time. I'm doing read to self. Oh, I'm not doing the right thing, but this is where I can go to get the answers. Awesome. Thanks, Gwyneth, for your nice comment. Super awesome. Yeah, so if you've got any other questions, you can always send them through to me. I hope this was a little bit, a little helpful for you. Yeah, so thanks for joining me on my first Facebook Live video on how to use DALL-E 5 in your classroom.